Welcome to A Pair of Bookends, the book club you can carry anywhere. I'm your host, Hannah MacDonald, and I'll be bookending the conversation with some of the most exciting voices from the bookish world. Welcome to our July book club episode. This month I invited you all to join me in reading People in Love, the much anticipated novel from the incredible Claire Daverley. If you haven't read it yet, don't worry, these episodes are spoiler free, but I urge you to grab your copy either via the link in the show notes or from your favourite bookshop. Joining me for our July book club episode is returning guest of the pod, my wonderful friend. I'm sure you've guessed it. Yes, it's Claire herself. Claire is, of course, a writer. She's based in Scotland and has the most picturesque writing spot anyone has ever and will ever have. After she graduated with a degree in fine art from the University of Oxford, she began a career in publishing. Whilst Claire has been penning her own stories since the age of 6, it wasn't until 2023 when her debut novel, Talking at Night, hit the shelves and made Claire a household name and an internet favourite author. Talking at Night has sold in 22 languages to date. In 2023, it was shortlisted for the debut of the year at the British Book Awards and longlisted for the Waterstones debut of the year. In 2024, it was shortlisted for the Nota Bene Prize and named one of Waterstones' best paperbacks of the year. For more of Claire's gorgeous writing and musings, you can find her via Substack, Desk by the Ocean. But for now, Claire joins me to discuss her latest novel, People in Love, which is out right now and it is going to crack your hearts wide open. Claire, welcome back to A Pair of Bookends!
Oh, Hannah, thank you so much. That was such a sensational intro.
I've got to give you the good stuff, Claire.
Oh, it's such a joy to be back. Thank you
It's
so
such a
much
joy
for
to have
that.
you, as always. I think this is your third time on the podcast.
It certainly is. We did a Christmas episode, didn't we?
We
And
certainly
and
did.
something for talking at night. So yeah, third time's an absolute charm, but the
You are
first two were also.
always one of my best performing guests, stats wise. So
Oh, no pressure then on it on my third
I
time.
I will have you back as many times as you like. Before we dive into your wonderful new book, I would love to start by asking what you're currently reading.
Yes, I actually have my copy right here. I am
Oh,
reading Life Out of Order, which is the sequel to The Time Traveler's Wife
I
by
can't believe
Audrey
it.
Niffenegger. I know. And the original is one of my favorite books of all time. So this actually isn't out until October, I think, but I've been really jammy and I've got an early copy. So I'm only a quarter of the way through, but it follows, for those who don't know, the timeline of Henry and Claire's daughter. Alba. Henry is a time traveler and he's passed on that gene to his daughter Alba. So the book is about, it's actually really surprising me. It's very political. It's kind of
Oh,
exploring like our contemporary world on fire with global warming, but also, riots and corruption everywhere. And Alba's sort of falling in love and trying to navigate that sort of really fraught world alongside her time travel condition. I'm totally immersed. I'm really, really hoping that she's going to actually cross paths with Henry, but she hasn't yet.
I am so excited for this. I'd actually completely forgotten that this was coming out until you just said.
I
So
know
now
it's
it's getting added to the TBR.
I feel like I think they're reissuing The Time Traveler's Wife this month actually in July. So I feel like the noise about it is going to kind of kick off, and then yeah, it's going to be a very exciting autumn.
Very exciting. I can't wait to get my hands on that. But we must now get into your new book, which I just knew I was going to be obsessed with. I have spent the last couple of days just completely immersed in this world that you've created. I loved it so much. You did break my heart several times. I knew it was coming, but even so, Claire, I was ready to message you at one point because I was so angry. But I quickly recovered. We're okay. We're all right. But you have mastered it again. You are amazing. For the listeners, could you set up the premise of People in Love?
Of course, and thank you so much. As a fan of Talking at Night, I absolutely didn't want to let you down with this one. So, People in Love is a contemporary love triangle, and it opens with Nora getting engaged to her long-term partner, Robin, when for years they agreed they didn't need to get married. And then on the night of their engagement party, Nora's old best friend turns up on her doorstep. And Bren was her next door neighbor growing up, and they were more than friends, but never technically more than friends. And a tragedy drove him away, and he's been abroad traveling the world for 12 years, and he's come back at just the wrong or maybe the right moment. And it's a book about, you know, Nora's wedding drawing closer, but she's thrown into crisis about the life she's built and all the decisions she's made and what could have been. So really, I guess it's a book about nostalgia kind of versus the now, and your first love versus the love you've got in your present.
Why do you think nostalgia is so appealing to write about and to read about?
I think it's just such a universal feeling, isn't it?
Hmm.
We've all got things in our pasts or things we wished were in our past that we and that was sort of what this book was really centered on, was that concept, right? Of the what ifs, the maybes.
Hmm.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhappy with your current life, but it definitely means there's a wistfulness or a daydreamy quality about looking
Yeah.
back. And I love reading about that stuff, and it's such a like treasure trove to write about as well.
Yeah, I think I get really nostalgic about like my university days or my early 20s, and I think it's because you feel so much freer from any kind of responsibility then, and it feels like I don't know, I think it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you do tend to have more responsibilities as an adult, but then do you not have more freedom as an adult to what kind of path you want to take with your life? It's a weird one, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's very easy to get caught up in like what the past could have been or like what happened in the past.
It is, and
Um,
I think you have rose-tinted glasses about anything. So actually, you might look back on your university years or your first love or your childhood sweetheart or whatever with like these only sort of good feelings and memories. And actually, if you went back, it might be that it was certainly more textured than
yeah.
that. And then like with that sort of looking back set of glasses on, we forget the more difficult bits. And then when you're in the present, the more difficult bits are much more prevalent.
Yes, very true. And I want to get into, you mentioned the tragedy aspect before, so I think we'll get into that. Obviously, in Talking at Night and in this book, you have characters that are navigating tragedy. I wondered what draws you towards that, do you think?
Oh, I just think tragedy again is so common for all of us.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, we don't necessarily have to have experienced a huge, really sensationalist thing, for example, at the center of Talking at Night, with what happens
Don't.
with Rosie's brother. Tragedy doesn't have to be those sorts of explosive, really unbelievable moments. It can be in the form of all of those universal milestones that we experience, whether that's, you know, grief or loss or a diagnosis
Yeah.
or anything like that. And I just think, again, it comes back to me being really interested in just what real life feels like for
Hmm.
people. And
Yeah.
it's in the tragedy of it, whether they're sort of big or small ones. And it's also in the joy and the lovely kind of inescapable, quiet, mellow moments. And I'm kind of fascinated in writing between the two.
Do you think you'll ever write a book where you don't break your readers' hearts?
I mean, we can hope, can't we, Hannah? But also,
Will
where's the
you ever
fun in
not make us
that?
cry?
Yeah. I love like emotive books. I
Yes, me
just
too.
really love books that sort of tug on my heartstrings. So I feel like it's just where I want to be as a
Hmm.
reader. So naturally it's where I end up writing. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll write a really, I don't know, forensic political thriller or something and surprise you all.
That would blow my mind if you did that. You just said that you love books that tug on your heartstrings, and I don't know
Yeah.
if these books in particular might also be those types of books, but I know that you have a thing that you do when you're working on a specific project and you line up novels on your desk
Yes.
to return to as sort of guiding lights. What were the books that you used as your kind of guiding lights for this book?
Oh, great question. So I had a few books on my desk for this one. I had Cleopatra and Frankenstein by
Great
Coco
one.
Melon, Sorrow and Bliss by Meg
Our
Mason.
favorite?
Oh, such a gem. Cold New Climate by Isabel Wall, which is a
I
bit
haven't read this.
much less known, I would say, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's such a brilliant book. And Brother of the More Famous Jack by Barbara Trapido, and Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. And I just felt like there was this sort of common thread. It's not like I sit there and actively think, what is it I'm trying to achieve with this novel? Like it isn't that deliberate. It's kind of like I gravitate towards, I suppose, an atmosphere or a tone I'm trying to
Yeah.
create. And then it's only when the book is written and I look back, kind of what was it I was trying to do? And what
Mhm.
were those books sort of guiding me towards? And I think the common thread between all of those was they were sort of smart contemporary love stories that also didn't, I suppose, tilt into the predictable predictable, which I think love stories often can. And that isn't any shade on sort of romance or anything. It's just they thrive on tropes
Yes.
and sort of comfort, and it's just that's not the sort of romance that I'm writing.
Yes.
And those books weren't that either. But then also, they were all books, and I only thought about this recently, where they sort of become about something that you don't expect. So you start reading, and then the stories sort of merge or morph into something new. And I feel like that's what I was trying to do with People in Love. So
I love this, and there's a couple there that I haven't read, so I am going to have to add those. But I do think it's really useful when you're struggling to write as well to just keep a stack of books that you really love the writing style, or there's something that the writer's done that you're really interested in, or maybe they're exploring similar themes, or they've got a tone that you want to capture. It's really good to just
absolutely.
have a flick through when you're struggling to write and go. It just kind of reminds you and brings you back to that sort of initial inspiration or something.
Honestly,
Um,
that's why I started doing it, because I had so many rejections before landing my agent for Talking at Night. And I kept getting this consistent feedback, which was that my writing was good, but my books were too quiet. And to me, it was really sort of frustrating because a lot of the books I was seeing not only being published, but selling really well were quite sort of beautifully written, quiet stories like
yeah.
Normal People,
Yes.
or Saltwater by Jessica Andrews, or Expectation by Anna Hope. And so I sort of, in stubborn refusal to take on that feedback, lined those up on my desk, and it kind of just started this ritual. But like you say, it started out with just this almost inspiration and encouragement to have them just reminding me that it could be done.
I bet they're all kicking themselves now that they're seeing your line every shelf and seeing you all over TikTok and Instagram. They're like, for God's sake, we really
We'll see.
we had a success story on our hands. It was a missed opportunity. But I think we should get into your gorgeous couple in this. There is a sort of love triangle going on, but we have Nora and Robin. They've been together for 9 years, I believe.
Yes, nine
Yes.
years, yeah.
Could you tell us about creating their sort of dynamic? Because I think there's something really interesting in exploring a relationship that's sort of long term rather than something at the very kind of initial stages, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And I was really curious about that, I think, whether I could create, I suppose, chemistry and conflict in a relationship that's actually very steady and very healthy. So many love stories, like Talking at Night included, it relies on sort of miscommunication between couples. And actually, Nora and Robin, like you say, they've got this sort of mature, healthy relationship where they've been together a long time. They talk about everything and meet problems head on. And at one point in the book, Robin actually directly asks her, has Bren showing up rocked the boat for you? And that felt really dangerous, like putting that on the page. It was like, wow, can I create tension and chemistry and what ifs, even with these sorts of very adult conversations happening?
Hmm.
And I don't know that I'd seen that on the page before. Yeah, so I was interested in writing about a couple in love who do talk, who do say the hard things, who address their problems. And then I think the line between what is an issue and what's just being human becomes blurred if it's not shrouded
Yes.
in sort of lies and miscommunication. And I didn't want this book to be like I was saying the steady long-term love between Robin and Nora is less exciting or better or worse than the nostalgia and the yearning and the unspoken feelings that Nora has with Bren. But they were just very different and equally powerful. And I wanted to give that space to the sort of love that Nora shares with Robin.
I love that so much. There is actually a speech that I think captures a long-term relationship and marriage so beautifully. And it's a speech that Josie says to
Oh,
Nora. And I
yeah.
was reading it yesterday and I thought this could genuinely be read out at a wedding. Like that is honestly, I was like, I folded down the page and I was like, this needs to be like read at my wedding. Like it
That
needs
would
to happen.
literally be a dream of mine. That would be such a dream of mine. Strangely enough, People in Love was actually used in a proposal. So I had some fans from Australia who were like really big fans of my book. And he got in touch with me and was like, my, hopefully fiance to be loves your work. And is there any chance, I'm sure this isn't likely, you could send me an early copy and like use it to propose to her? And I was like, absolutely.
Oh my
So that's what we did. Like we made it happen for them, which was just amazing. And then just recently in a signing, I had another lovely lady approach me and she got me to sign the book asking her friend to be her bridesmaid. So like
don't.
the wedding opportunities of this book just keep coming, which was it's such like magical thing because you don't think about any of that when you're writing, and then to feel people or hear these stories of people connecting with your work, that's so lovely to hear what you thought about. And I think I know exactly what speech you mean that Josie gives. Yeah, because it's
It's
about, again, going back to those small special moments in a shared life, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly it. And this also reminds me of how earlier in the book, Bren sort of highlights, he's talking about the emails that he sends to Nora,
Mm.
and he highlights how the small things that people might consider insignificant are actually the things that he finds the significant things in life. And I wondered if being a writer has helped you to appreciate the small things in life.
So, yeah,
Is
I
that a
think
really cringe question to ask?
it's not at all. It's like so, it's a soul question for me, for
It
sure.
is.
Oh, and maybe that just means I'm really cringe, which is I'm
Me
totally fine
too.
with.
Good. Great.
I think I notice like small things just as a part of, like you say, being a writer. Like I'm really drawn to sort of details, whether it's, very visually, the way like light falls across a wall or the way the toast crumbs like fall in the bed. And I just think that comes from a place of being like an observer and a listener. And I really like to pay attention. And I think it's really easy not to in our sort of fast-paced world, with so many screens and so much to do all of the time. I'm writing about these sort of little details in my way of, I guess, slowing down, reminding myself that there's really beautiful things that are free, if we just looked around. And hopefully by writing about them, it encourages the reader to slow down too. But who knows if that is the case.
I think you are great at slowing down and appreciating the small things. I remember you sent me a voice note once where you actually said, "Just 1 second, I'll carry on replying in a minute, but I've just spotted a tree and I want to take a photo." And you really like the look of this tree.
Absolutely. I think that's so, it's genuinely like that phrase, like stop and smell the roses, stop and look at the
Yes.
trees. Like it's really important. We only get one like wild and precious life. And I feel like, fiction is a really beautiful way to try and capture that. But also you
Yeah.
can just capture it for yourself, like day to
You can.
day.
You can. You're really
Yeah.
good at getting yourself out there in nature and, doing your swimming and your running. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I mean, that must all really help as well with the writing process, is giving you thinking time
Oh,
when
it
you're getting
definitely
yourself
does.
outdoors. Yeah.
Yeah, I think being a full-time writer, you would go totally mad if all you did was stay at your desk. So if
Yeah.
anything, it sort of helps, getting the ideas going, getting the blood pumping. It's really important, I think, for idea generation, but also just, I don't know, taking time away from the manuscript, I think is really
Mm.
important. And actually the work is better for it, for sure.
We're not very good at taking time to think anymore. I think there's too much at our disposal to sort of search for things. A lot of people do the quick fix now with like ChatGPT or like AI or whatever,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's very good to just. There's a writer that I can't for the life of me. It's going to be somebody really famous, and I'm annoyed at myself, but he talks about like that they would just take themselves for a walk to have a think, and we people don't really do that anymore. We're just constantly looking of like, how quickly can I get this idea set straight?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. I saw like a little like meme or like illustration, like I mean, it was years ago now. It's like 10 years ago and it's really stayed with me and things have moved even, faster
Yeah.
beyond that. But it was like two little people sitting on the sofa and it was like the days before Google or like before Google search. And this person was like, I'd really like to know more about this topic. And then the person sitting next to them was like, well, that's a damn shame. So it's kind of like how did we get by without these things? Like, how did we learn?
So
How did we?
true.
And now it's almost like it's just that almost too much information. I mean,
Yeah.
false information as well is so
Yes.
at our fingertips. It was really funny because my husband Googled me the other day for some bizarre reason. And he was like, oh, it says you won the debut of the year. And I was like, well, that was not true.
That's
I
naughty,
was
isn't it?
nominated, but I didn't win. And it was such a like real life example of how AI can just get it so wrong. And people are just, lapping up that
Yeah,
information.
no, absolutely. I mean, I can't say that being able to Google things is not, I really appreciate Google at times. But then I think, there's certain things that I don't agree with that people use AI for. But yeah, Google for one, I'm like, I mean, I saw your Substack where you wrote about all the things you Googled when you were
Oh my
writing this book.
gosh.
It's so helpful. How do
It
you
is.
spell what is it? Pananzanella? Panzanella?
Panzanella. Yeah. Yeah. It's so, and this is the thing, it's so funny because I'm a hypocrite. Like I use Google search all the time, but I don't use
It's
AI.
useful.
So I don't use ChatGPT, and I
No, that
don't.
doesn't make you a hypocrite.
People mention like Gemini and Claude, and I'm like, who are these people? Who are these characters? What? Like, I just have no idea. But Google search remains my friend.
It is your friend, and that's fine. I agree. I think I'm doing a terrible segue here, but I think there's something in what we've just been speaking about, and also I think it links to our sort of inability to stay still. So this is a very, yeah, terrible segue, but
That's a great
um,
segue. No, I see where you're going.
okay, so much later in the book, Bren talks about how stillness is probably difficult for most people, and Bren is somebody that travels about here, there, and everywhere. And I wondered what it was like for you exploring a character that does find that stillness particularly difficult.
Yeah, I love that restlessness in Bren, just because I think it's so relatable. Like, even if we don't consider ourselves restless people, exactly like what we were just talking about, I think stillness in this day and age is just really hard for all of
Hmm.
us. It's sort of been conditioned out of us. And boredom too. Like, do we ever allow ourselves to get bored?
No.
Do children know what it is to get bored? I notice it myself. You've just, so sort of generously pointed out that I've intentionally built a life where I live near the ocean and the hills, and I'm lucky enough to write full time, so I can sort of structure my days how I want to. But do I ever just kind of luxuriate in silence? It's like, no, I fill it with voice notes to friends and apparently taking photos of trees. Blasting music while I'm
Yeah.
running or making plans and I just think being still or just letting myself be still
Hmm.
or alone in silence, it feels like it isn't productive. It feels like it's something I shouldn't be doing. And I think is that because it's uncomfortable? Is it because it's unfamiliar?
Hmm.
I don't know, but I just think Bren was a great way of kind of personifying that very contemporary, widespread truth, I
Yeah.
think. We're all deregulated.
Yes.
We're all kind of struggling to manage what is this kind of mad contemporary world, and the amount of information that comes our way, and the speed with which we have to get things done and make more plans and progress. And I just think with Bren, obviously he's a very extreme case.
Yeah.
He's very sort of self-aware that he's running from discomfort.
Hmm.
But he was just, to me, he was like a really real life embodiment of what we all go through to some extent. And he thinks he's living this sort of big, bold, adventurous life, which he is. But at the same time, he really struggles to sit in his living room, like with his mum, and he can't just lie on his bed and daydream. He has to get
Yeah.
out and move, and he's got like this a physical aversion almost to just being in a space. And I just think that's quite common.
Very common. It definitely resonated with me. I'm somebody that's like, I need to be moving, moving, moving on the go. And I think it's if I stand still, I'm kind of scared what my brain will do.
Totally, yeah. I was talking to a friend about how, I'm just really bad at silence. So if
Yeah,
I'm moving around doing chores, like I'll have an audiobook playing in the
yeah,
background. And she sort of said something like, oh yeah, what can you fill the void with? And it really stayed with me. I was like, that's so interesting. And that's kind of what forms the basis of that paragraph, I think, that you're referencing.
yeah.
We're all filling the void in some way, and some way it's like healthier than others, but it's still filling a void.
Yeah, it's a real issue that you do have to keep an eye on. I got to a point where I was playing podcasts in any spare minute that I would carry my phone into the bathroom just to clean my teeth before I went to bed and play a podcast in those like 3, 4 minutes. And I was like, that is diabolical. Like, how can I not clean my teeth without noise?
That's
And
what I
I've got
mean.
I've got a
I was
vibrating
exactly the same.
toothbrush. It's making a noise, but I need
Yeah,
something else.
yeah. It's and that I've had a very similar kind of light bulb moments where I'm like, oh, I should just, and even if it's just challenging myself to like leave my phone at home when I walk the dog, so that I can't leave a voice note or listen to a podcast,
Yes.
but just look at the sky and be with my thoughts. Like, I think it's really important, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't, it's weird because it's the most natural thing in the world, but now we're
Yeah.
attached to our screens, it feels unnatural.
Yes, agreed. And I think by contrast to Bren's sort of restlessness and needing to be on the go, on the go, on the go, we
Mm.
have his mum Josie, who was a character that I found really affecting. She has clearly had many struggles over the years.
Mm.
She's navigating grief, but she's also had her own sort of issues with mental health. She's got her very specific routines. She sort of takes medication that's helping her, but she likes to be a kind of homebody. And I think it feels feel safer for her. And I wondered if you could tell us a bit about her and where she came from and what that contrast was like to write.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of affection for her as well as a character. And both of the mums, actually, so Freya and Josie,
Yes.
came up sort of fully formed, strangely. Like both of them are very extreme characters, I would say. But also, I think the fact that they were both secondary characters meant there was sort of less pressure on them. And so,
Hmm.
because of that, they were who they were. I didn't have to sit and like flesh them out. It was just, they were very clear to me from the beginning. And as for kind of Josie's setup, you're right. Like, I never actually label her sort of condition,
Yes.
which was intentional in the end, because I just felt like it added a layer to the story that wasn't necessary,
Yeah.
especially when like Bren himself isn't clear on what it is either. It's
Hmm.
not a book about her condition, nor did I want it to be. So I felt like her character didn't need that sort of boxing in, I suppose. And there are so many kind of mental illnesses out there with so much stigma. And I touched on it in Talking at Night, with conditions like anxiety and depression. But Josie here suffers with like a permanent disorder that,
Yeah.
like you say, she has to take medication for, and it shapes her life. She's housebound. And at first, I think you maybe like pity her for that. But I wanted to break down the stigma and our assumptions, actually, and show that she's really content with her life. And there's this sort of wisdom to her that I feel like is revealed as the narrative develops. And everyone around her, so Bren, her son, but also Nora, who is kind of like a daughter to her, really, they're kind of surprised by this wisdom, and their
Hmm.
own sort of perceptions about life are really challenged
Yeah.
by the things that Josie sort of puts on the table. And I just really wanted to unpeel her as someone living with a really severe mental illness. She's someone who you actually really respect and who really surprises you, and who lives by her own life, her own values, and, despite her struggles, is kind of quite an inspiring character.
Very much so. There is a thing that's just come into my head, and I'm trying to look through my many notes that I keep whilst you can't even see it. There's many notes
Oh
I've
my
kept whilst
gosh,
reading the book.
that's so
Um,
great.
but there's a moment, it's going to really annoy me. Like, oh, Nora is talking about having conversations with Josie and like thinking about how just because somebody's brain works differently
Mm,
doesn't mean they don't kind of deserve the same sort of kindness or acceptance. They don't need to be spoken to in a sort of condescending way. And I don't know, it
mm,
was just a really sort of eye-opening moment of like, well, of course, yeah. And you can feel so different if you're somebody that's dealt with, mental illness. You can feel like your brain is like a bad brain. I do quotation marks, listeners. You can feel like there's something really wrong with you. So to have that character sort of treated with that respect and given that kind of dignity, I don't know, I just thought it was a really beautiful thing that you did there whilst
mm.
writing her. It's not a question, it's just a
No,
statement.
that thank you so much. And actually, you are the second person to say that to me. One of the really early readers reached out and said, I'm actually a mental health professional, like I work in and is sort of a mental health carer. And she said, I've not seen this written in this way before. And it felt really kind of believable and important. And it was like, wow, because you set out to write sort of an entertaining love story. And obviously the things that you think and feel kind of end up seeping into the pages.
Yes.
And then you think, wow, that's just a really special unintended outcome, I
Hmm.
guess, that people find that truth and feel, I don't know, seen, or like the people they
Yeah.
care about are somewhat seen. And that's just, yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah, she's definitely a character that will stay with me. So you've done it again, Claire.
Thanks, Hannah.
I want to talk about the fact that, this is the story obviously begins with Nora and Robin getting engaged, and we follow the sort of process of them preparing for their wedding. And their relationship is sort of changing a little bit. And there's often the comment made that, they're not feeling very Nora and Robin because they have
Mm.
their ways of being with each other and something is changing. I wondered what you think it is about weddings that causes people to behave differently.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I had to give this a lot of thought, like writing this book. I mean, it's a really obvious answer, but like the pressure,
The
I think,
pressure, yeah.
the high stakes where like marketing, and capitalism and
Yes.
consumerism all bears down on you to make you feel like this one day should be representative of your love for your most important person and
Yeah.
your union and your personalities, and you get one chance to like showcase that and do it right. And I just think even if you want to keep things relaxed, like even that is making a statement,
Yeah.
isn't it? If you're like,
Hmm.
oh, we're the sort of people that want a relaxed wedding. And it just, I don't know, judgment is just sort of dripping
Yes.
off the industry, no matter what you do and what you decide. And I just think I was exploring while I was writing just how dialogue around weddings is so binary.
Yeah.
Either you love a good wedding or you despise them and all they stand for and think they're sort of, a patriarchal or outdated religious construct. Or, you believe marriage is a beautiful and brave thing, or you ridicule it and reduce it to like it's a piece of paper, it means nothing. All these things that are just thrown around. And I actually personally think all of those things can be true, like at
Yeah.
once. It's a sliding scale of kind of colour and meaning around and a really important ceremony that is not just, from our culture.
Hmm.
Weddings and marriage it's globally sort of a thing. And I was just really interested in the nuance of that. I think the one time only pressure, which obviously ties in with the overarching theme of the book, because it's like this fear of regret almost,
Yes.
this fear of making a wrong choice.
And
And
it's so
every
often said, oh, you've only
time,
got one chance. Why is
yeah,
that constantly reiterated to people? It's horrible.
yeah, completely. And I just think that's why every tiny thing to do with a wedding day feels so heightened and so
Yes.
important. And it can be really creative and fun, or on the flip side, it can be really stressful and really
Hmm.
stifling. So it was almost this kind of parallel thread with the worry and regret that Nora was feeling about her life in general and the different sort of boats she could board
Yeah.
with Bren or with Robin. It was like the wedding was just this really excellent metaphor for that, I suppose, in that it's no wonder family drama and insecurities blow up around these sorts of things
Oh,
because
honestly.
the emotions just run so high.
Yes, I loved the moment where Nora and Robin go to view a venue,
Mm.
and the sort of manager of this venue is having a conversation with them about like different pricing. And he basically, there's like all these different things that add prices, and one of them is like if she comes out of a different entrance. I'm like,
Honestly,
how does that cost extra?
it's so funny because that so much of it was like drawn from my own wedding planning
Oh
experience,
my
like
God.
and just the real. I mean, even down to like the bridal shop that makes you put a bag on your face and like
So
and yeah, like you
bad.
can pay extra for different sorts of napkins and like it was just we. I mean, I loved where we got married, but something that will really stay with me is the day you could go and view it. There were like all these beautiful fire pits and candles all lit and everything, and it was so amazing. And we signed on the line, and then when we went back for our quote unquote planning day, it turned out to light the candles and fire pits cost money. There was like
No,
a lighting fee. It's just
that is diabolical, isn't it? Come on.
absolutely hilarious. And so I think all of that just stayed with me. And I was like, yeah, this, and you just sort of roll over and accept it because what can you do? Just
Yeah.
not like them, I guess, which would totally underestimate why or undercut why we chose that sort of magical feeling venue.
Yeah.
Just yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun
So
to
funny.
reflect on that experience in fiction.
No, it's wild to me. And there is one person that is sort of opposed to the idea of weddings for one of the reasons that you said, which is for the patriarchy purposes. She's got her
Yeah,
own thoughts and feelings on this.
yeah.
And that is Nora's mum, Freya. And I believe it has just been Nora and Freya in their household. Now, obviously, they are sort of joined together with Bren and his mum and dad's household. It's not sort of quite joined, but they've got like a gate leading to each other's back garden. So I
Mm.
guess they've all sort of, lived amongst each other. But in their household, it's just been Nora and Freya.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you could tell us a bit about their dynamic. And yeah, I think the mother-daughter relationship is so interesting, but I was particularly invested in theirs because Freya had been through a lot in order to have Nora, hadn't she?
Yeah, and that's the thing. She's quite a sort of, she seems like quite a spiky character because she's so opinionated and sort of she doesn't hold back, which
Yeah.
is sort of really fun to write. But at the same time, you think, gosh, it actually being on the receiving end of that sort of energy all the time
Yes.
would be really difficult.
Hmm.
And that's why I felt like it was really important that Nora was such a grounded, sort of fair, reasonable character because yes, she could be really hurt by her mum's behaviors and ways, but at the same time, she's made her who she is, and she has laid the foundations for sort of questioning things and not just accepting things that society like throw our way. And I think Nora's really grateful for that. And so, yes, their relationship's complicated, but it's also full of love and kind of mutual respect,
Hmm.
which was just a really fulfilling kind of relationship to write. And they were friends as well. I
Yeah.
felt like there was a real friendship between them, which was really nice.
Even just being on first name basis.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The fact that yeah, she calls her Freya, and like, everybody just calls her Freya because that's who she is. She wouldn't want to be called Mum. And that
No.
comes from Freya, not from Nora.
Yeah.
Which again are things that the character tells me that's the case. I don't sit there and think, oh gosh, that would make sense for Freya. It's like Freya shows up and lets me know in no world would she want to be called Mother.
I love this. I know that every word matters to you, and you can really see that with your sentences. I think each your sentences come alive off the page. You write such beautiful prose, and I know that even the smallest details really matter to you, and you take real care with your writing. And I did want to ask, I don't know how much you've been asked this already, but in terms of names, where did these characters' names come to you? Was Nora a Nora Ephron? Was it something else?
So many people who have asked, not that specific question, that's quite a rare one, but a lot of people in like signing queues are really interested in whether it was Nora Ephron.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and like I feel like I'm letting everyone down by saying no.
It's just because I
I'm
love
a
Nora
huge
Ephron.
Nora Ephron fan, but funnily enough, this was the first and only time thus far that I've struggled with a name for a character. So normally they just drop into my head and they feel right. And actually, the name almost is this like perfect springboard for who the character then becomes. And I couldn't find Nora's right name for so long. And I mean, in the end, I was trying sort of a few different things, and it was like as soon as I landed on Nora, it suddenly changed everything, and she felt right. So it wasn't necessarily inspired by anyone or anything. It was just I had this sense of this person, and I needed to
Mhm.
find the name that would fit her.
It's a gorgeous name. I do
I
love
think
it.
so too.
I love
I think
it. Claire, the time has come for a game.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Listeners,
Now,
I don't know what's coming other than Hannah put in her email something like food reference game. I was like, I am seated for this.
so we're going to see Mrs. Claire Daverley, author of People in Love, how much you remember about writing this
Oh my
book.
gosh. Oh my gosh. There's
Now,
been so many drafts. This is the problem. I might be like, oh, yes, I know the answer. And that was actually in a draft that didn't make it to publication.
no, this might be the proof that I've got.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, stay tuned. So we're going to see how many answers you get right. Now, I
Okay.
would have been here all day if I'd have tried to include all the food references in this book because
Yeah.
there are so many. But I'm going to ask you questions about food in this book and we're going to see if you can remember what they
Okay.
are. Are you
That's
ready?
this is so funny. Do you listen to the Gilmore Guys podcast?
No.
It's like in every single episode, they list the cultural references in each episode.
Oh my
And I feel
God.
like you could do that. You'd be like the food references in all of Claire David's novels and see how many you
We'd be
you
here all
get.
day. We'd be here, and I love it. We're both foodies. Nora's a foodie. We're
Yeah,
we're all going to
yeah.
get on very well.
Okay, hit me. I'm ready.
Okay, we're starting off quite easy. What
Mhm.
is the chocolate Bren emails Nora about at the start of the book? Now you get 1 point for brand and 1 point for flavour.
Whitaker's coconut block.
Listeners,
Just saying, this actually changed my life. So this wasn't even fictional. I
don't
was like,
because I'm so upset that I have not been able to try it and that it's not available in the UK.
it's actually traumatizing that I can't find it
I
in the
thought you were going to say
UK.
it's actually available in the UK, and I was about to
No.
be like, Claire, I'm
If
stopping the
I could change
call.
your life, Hannah, I would, but I can't.
If we ever
Um,
find it, we'll
yeah,
know about it.
listeners, if anybody knows where we can get a hold of it in the UK, please just
Tell
let
us
Hannah know. Yeah.
immediately. What meal does Nora cook for Robin that makes him do a little dance?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Spaghetti pomodoro?
Yes!
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
What is Nora and Robin's Japanese takeaway order?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I rewrote the scene so many times. Do they have gyoza?
Yes.
They have some sort of noodle dish with prawns.
Yes. That's it. I think that's all you say. I think
Oh,
it is just, yeah,
fantastic.
great, perfect.
Oh,
Smashed
and
that.
obviously the miso soup.
And the miso soup. Oh my God, I hadn't even remembered that. So look at
There
you
we
go.
go.
What meal do Nora and Robin make when Bren comes for food?
Fajitas.
Yes, correct.
I referenced that as the fajita scene with my editors for many, many months.
So that is it's the easiest one. Nora's mum doesn't attend their engagement party, but does provide them with ingredients for which beverage?
Bloody Marys.
Correct. Bren is working from a cafe later in the book and orders two coffees, but abandons his second coffee straight after ordering. What coffee does he abandon?
Oh my goodness, Hannah. Bren, mate, what did you order? I don't feel like it's a flat white. Is it a flat white?
It's not a flat
No,
white.
I don't know what it was. Cappuccino.
Yes!
Oh, yes.
I knew you'd get it. Bren's dad used to host burrito night. What part of the meal was it Bren's job to make?
I literally can't remember that at all. Wow.
Burrito
Um,
night.
so he makes burrito night and Bren has to make, oh, the guacamole.
Yes!
Yeah, of
Say,
course.
you've got this. You know what you're talking about. Nora and Robin, this might be a hard one. Nora and Robin go to the pub and order what before realizing what is not in season. So that's two different things.
Mm, the figs aren't in season.
Yes.
Is it burrata?
Yes! You're so good at this. For Nora and Robin's engagement party, they order what from where?
They order pizza. Is it Alessandro's?
Yes.
Yeah,
Bonus
perfect.
point for Nora saying you can never have too much what?
Garlic bread.
Exactly. And the
Yes.
answer is no, you can't have too much garlic bread. There is a conversation about vending machines later in the book, and someone is sent to buy two or three bags of which crisps?
Knickknacks. And the flavor is like lemon and scampi or something.
Ugh,
Ugh,
disgusting.
who
Gross.
wants that?
We're nearly towards the end. Which food are Nora and Freya talking about potentially making them blind?
Mushrooms.
On
Foraged mushroom.
on Sundays, Josie eats what meal?
Chicken casserole.
Great. What is Nora's preferred amount of scoops of ice cream?
3.
Yeah. I shouldn't have put these together. How many types of tomato salad are served at the Easter lunch?
It's just one, but that seems like a weird question. Was it more than one tomato salad?
What have I just said? That I shouldn't have put them together, those two questions.
Oh, about ice cream. So
Yeah.
3. I have no idea. I wouldn't even know 3 different types of tomato salad, but thankfully, Freya would. So,
Freya would, to be fair. You've got them all right, Claire. Nobody's
well, just about.
surprised.
That was very generous of you, but that was the most fun I think I've ever had on a podcast recording. Oh,
I
I
love
had a
that
friend
so
message me and be like, "You've made me really want to eat fajitas." And I was like, if that's my legacy with this book, I am happy.
We love to see it.
Mm.
Perfect. But on the subject of food, I'm gonna try and get this in before we finish.
Okay.
I think food tells us so much about people
Mm.
and how I mean we're both foodies, so we get it, but I think it tells us so much in terms of what people eat, how much they eat. Their relationship with food can actually tell us a lot about their upbringing and about it can explain so much about a person. And I wondered how fun it was to sort of curate the tastes of your characters.
It's the best part of writing. But I think you're right. I think it's so, I mean, obviously because it's such a sort of passion of mine, but it does. It tells you so much about a person.
Yeah.
So I think when I'm trying to get to know a character, it's almost a starting point. Like if I understand their appetite and their tastes and their preferences about food, it's kind of like just really informative about them as a person. And I know it's funny actually, like my editor's also a huge foodie, so we always sign off our emails or our conversations with what we're having for dinner that night. And I
I
think that,
love that.
yeah, subconsciously it like informs just, I don't know what I suppose like-minded people are interested in talking about. And because it can be so mundane, it can be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm having stir fry or jacket potato tonight. And there
Yeah.
is somehow something comforting, and we will still manage to get conversation out of whatever that is. And I just think it represents so much, whether it's comfort, joy, like you say, childhood memories,
Yeah.
nostalgia, or if you're not interested in food, you know, why that is, and
Hmm.
what food is to you. Is it just a survival, or is it actually something that you really don't look forward to? And, you know, I've got a friend who is sort of allergic to everything under the sun. And so eating for her is just not the joy that I'm so lucky it is for me.
Yeah.
And it shapes her because it means she has to find joy in different ways in her life.
Yes.
So I just have so much fun with it. And it's something that I feel like, I know you said earlier, are you always going to write books that just make people cry? I think writing a book without sort of food references, because also it's so social.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot going on in my books because it's just about normal lives and normal people moving through their days and drinking coffees and ordering pastries and sharing dinners together. Is just, it's kind of rife for real life
Hmm.
happening. It's just,
That's the good stuff. It's
yeah,
the good stuff.
couldn't write a book without it, I don't think.
No, no. And that's my favorite part of the day is eating. So
Yeah, me too. I'm like genuinely excited for each meal.
I go to bed excited about the coffee I'm going to have in the morning.
Mate, I do that too. I'm already excited for my cereal in the morning when I go to bed. I'm like, what a time to be alive.
Honestly. And I don't think it's sad. I think it's like a valid reaction.
I agree. I feel like it comes back to what we were saying about the small things in life, the small
Yeah.
joys, you
Yeah.
know?
Take joy where you can.
Absolutely.
I think that is a lovely place to finish, Claire. Before I let you go, I do like to finish by asking for a recommendation. So, what would you like to recommend to the listeners? It can be anything, it can be books, TV, film, podcasts, whatever you like.
That's a really good one. I think, no surprises here, considering what we were just talking about.
Was
I'm
it
going to
perfect?
recommend the best TV show on telly right now, which is The Bear.
Yeah, I've not watched the new
So,
season yet, so Claire, don't say anything.
no spoilers for anybody. Because I love it so much, I'm almost like bereft that it's ending. So I'm
Gutted.
savoring every episode and like spacing out. But obviously the final season's here. I still think it's the best show on
It's
TV.
incredible.
Going out with a bang. I know lots of people say to me, "Oh, I don't like it. It's too stressful." And I can't argue with that. It's quite a stressful show, but it's also so tender and
Yeah,
smart, and the dialogue is just kind of white hot, like
yeah,
no word is wasted, and the character arcs are just unbelievably brilliant.
agreed.
And I've it's really surprising me. This season is really surprising me, and I can't bear to let it go, but also I can't stop watching. It's just fantastic.
I love that show so much, and I'm so devastated to get to the final season. We haven't started yet, but I'm gonna savor it as well, I
Save
think.
it as a treat,
Yeah,
especially when life's less busy and you can kind of we're having to ration the episodes
you
just
have
because we
to.
can't watch it till close to bed because it is so stressful.
It is
Like
stressful.
it just stirs up your nervous system and
Yeah,
your adrenaline.
agreed. But it perfectly captures what it's like to work in a restaurant.
I can
It does it
imagine.
so well, and I do think one of the best ever episodes of TV ever is the oh God, what is it? There's something of the fishes.
Loaves and fishes, or the
Yes.
seven fishes. So I don't think I have it on my desk. For Christmas, Clive bought me the script. Clive is my husband, for listeners who don't know. The script of that episode, and had
No.
it printed and bound because he knows how much I'm in love with that
That is
show.
such an amazing present.
Isn't it?
Sorry, Clive. What's go- Oh my God.
Isn't that a really like Robin thing to do as well?
Very Robin coded.
Very
Yes.
Robin. But yes, I know exactly what you mean, and I've literally sat and studied it. And if anything, it's sort of inspired the Easter lunch energy
Oh
as
my
well.
God, of
As well
course.
as the meal at the beginning of Fleabag season 2 when they're all at the restaurant.
Yes, such a good
Um,
one. That's really weird. I was talking to Chloe Ashby about that exact scene yesterday. How weird is
Way.
that? Yeah.
That is weird, full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really strange.
There's something again about those sort of dynamics over a dinner table.
Yes.
As we were talking earlier about those heightened emotional kind of times in family lives. And I don't know, there was just, you know, the Easter scene isn't anything like those two episodes,
Hmm.
but a bit like the guiding lights of the novels that I line up on my desk. Watching them was sort of like, okay, this is where I know I'm trying to get to.
Hmm.
Everybody's got different sort of agendas. Everyone's coming at
Yeah.
this dinner with different points of view and cutting across each other, or saying one thing and meaning another thing. And it was just, yeah, I take a lot from dialogue on screen and try and translate that on the page.
And if that, listeners, doesn't make you want to read this book, I don't know what will. I'm sure lots of people have already got their mitts on your book, but if you haven't, listeners, please go and grab yourselves a copy of People in Love. And if you are the only handful of people left on earth that haven't read Talking at Night, do go and grab yourselves a copy of that. I will be popping links in the show notes. And as always, you can go to your favourite bookshop to buy them also. Maybe there'll be some signed copies scattered about.
Here's hoping. I
Here's
have been signing a
hoping.
few on my travels.
Unless they've all been swiped up, which wouldn't surprise me. Claire, I've absolutely loved having you back on the podcast. You are wonderful, and I am so grateful for your time. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for having me. It was so much fun.
And for the listeners, as I said, you can go and buy Claire's books, links in the show notes. You can also follow Claire via Instagram and Substack. You can find us over on Patreon, Instagram, and TikTok. As I've said, links to all the above in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.